pretty, isn't it? Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
And away we go. Brenton, Bracky, episode 10, welcome back.
Lekker,
Timo, how are you? Brack, how are you?
lekker boys en julle.
Fine, thank you.
Living the
So-
dream.
Action-packed weekend. This is going to be a shorter episode. We always say that, and we end up with an hour and a half. But we don't really have a lot of news to cover, so we'll skip the news section. We'll do that again on Thursday. We'll do the Six Nations. I'm sure everyone knows which games we can't wait to talk about. And then we'll do the URC, the Lions versus Sharks review. And that's that.
Done and done.
What are we starting with? Six Nations or URC?
Let's start with the URC. It was the first one.
URC. So last weekend the Lions smacked the Sharks, and I was hoping the Sharks would smack the Lions this weekend. It didn't turn out that way. In fact, the Sharks are very lucky to win. Lions played very well. Sharks played well. But in the end, the Sharks did get the win and did win the SA Shield. So well done to my boys.
GG's, oh yes. Beautiful game, Yo, wonderful
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, it was a bit of an intense one.
That
And
was
it wasn't.
cool.
Yeah, it wasn't always the most beautiful game to watch, but but we got it. It's about the result. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I thought the Sharks started very well. Francois Venter, he opened up with a try. He passes to Francois Venter passes to Pinkner to Kolisi. Kolisi passes in contact to Julius. Julius then breaks the line and passes to Grant, and Grant is away. Grant looked brilliant. Grant and Sia Kolisi looked very, very good. We spoke about it last weekend about Grant getting a start, and he proved us right. He was just on fire.
Yes, last last episode we mentioned about Kulisi getting his brain, back in rugby, and I feel that the solid foundation that Kulisi brings to the Sharks setup is important, and it showed this weekend.
Yeah, 100%. He did very, very good. He was a monster. In fact, he scored 2 tries. The first try where Grant takes the ball out of the scrum, passes to Venter. Venter goes down. Grant takes the ball out of the ruck and passes to Sia, and Sia just fucking rockets through. Then his second try, Jason Jenkins catches the ball out in the line out, passes to Sia. Sia passes to Bongi. Bongi goes down, gives the ball to Sia, and once again Sia just rockets over. So he really did look good. I think that Springbok race did him good.
No,
Yeah, and the Sharks
definitely did show. And I mean, we need him on form, and he needs game time to get that form back. And it's still up. What is he going to play for the Boks? Is he going to shift to number 8 because is he going to stick to being on the side of the scrum? So we'll have to see. I think this year's going to be us, except for this. It showed a lot of opportunity for a lot of people. Grant's definitely cemented his place as the number 1 scrum off in South Africa just based on this weekend. But now you look at it, Krappis is not very far behind. He had a few line breaks. He had a few good line breaks. Their passing was immense and everything. And then on the other side of that, there's a lot of people that are expected to be Springboks that aren't looking that good. I mean, for example, although you mentioned before the show, the Sharks scrum had a lot of front foot dominance.
Yeah.
But for me, basically having the major part of a Springbok scrum, they didn't look that good though.
I thought they looked good. I always thought the Sharks had the weakest scrum between the 4 South African URC teams, and they always have. I mean, they used to get smashed in the scrum by all the other URC teams, and this is the first time the whole URC that I've actually seen the Sharks have a solid scrum. I actually thought there was a few penalties that didn't go their way when it should have. I mean, they won 9 out of 9 from their own scrums, and the Lions lost 1 of their 7. So I think the Sharks look good. I get what you're saying, that it should look good with that pack, with the Ox and Chair, Bongi Manambi, and a Vincent Koch. Vincent Koch also looks very good. But they usually get clapped in the scrums when it comes to URC games. But well done. I actually thought, for the first time, I was very proud of them.
As you should
Um,
do. When we always discussed it. A good team will get the result, and I think the Sharks did that. It was a scrappy win at the end of the game
Oh yeah.
to actually just pull it through.
Mm.
But if as a Shark supporter, you look at the game last weekend. The Lions home crowd was spoiled with a fantastic game, and I don't think the Sharks supporters were spoiled with a fantastic game. Well, it was still a good game. The Sharks got the result. The result's positive for the Lions as well because they moved up to 8th now. So
Yeah, I said it last week, and it's not easy being a Shark supporter. And I'm not gonna make any excuses for them. But the Sharks are really, really battling with injuries, and I know the Lions are also lost key players. But I mean, the Sharks have such a problem at fullback. Siamo Suku got injured, and Jordan had to move back at 10. I prefer him in 10. I think he's a fucking brilliant 10. And then we had to borrow that Immelman from the Bulls, which really had no impact. He was really not that good. We had to borrow him, for this weekend. I mean, I know the URC is taking a 2-week break, or a very, very well needed break for us to sort of get our key players. I feel like the Sharks are just hanging in there. I mean, we are missing Andre Esterhuizen, Eben Etzebeth, Apelele Fassi, Lucanio Arm now, Mapimpi. I actually thought Mapimpi's ban would have been over by now. But anyways, we are losing. There's a lot of influential players that we are playing without, and I think the Sharks are doing well, hanging in there. I mean, top 4 position, and the team can only get better from here.
Yeah, no, definitely I agree. Look, we need if that's the case, the Sharks are up there, so which means at the moment we've got 2 teams in the top 4. 2 South African teams in the top 4 means 2 home quarterfinals at least for now. So that's a good thing.
I think we have a few beautiful matches waiting if all of the heavy influential players come back. I mean, if we get the type of matches we're getting now from the Sharks, what do we have to look forward to when the big guys, the big boys come home? What do we have to look forward to then? I think it's something to look forward.
Yeah, well, with the Sharks, they've got Zebra up next at home, Zebra, which is going to be a nice game for them. Then they've got Leinster at home. And I said it before, I think Leinster are going to send a B team. But with the way Leinster played against France this weekend, I'm not that worried. And then we've got Edinburgh, we got Ulster, and we got Osprey. So Leinster is probably the only stick in the mud for the Sharks. So they just need to keep, we've seen them lose to bad teams before. But if they just stay cool, calm, and collective, and trust the process, they should retain that top 4 position.
If they don't retain the top 4 position, I would be very, very surprised. And looking at the new log, they've broken away. In 4th position now. I think they're 6 points ahead of Munster, which is 5th. So they're kind of cementing in that 4th place. And now with them being all on level terms with every team having played 12 games, the Sharks find themselves only 2 points behind 3rd place Bulls.
Yeah.
So
100%.
that's also interesting because if the Sharks just finish their season strong, they can possibly
win it. I've called it.
They can actually, in all fairness, they can probably finish 2nd. Overall, but that's going to be a bit tall order to topple the Glasgow Warriors now.
I don't know. They've done it before. They smacked the Glasgow Warriors this season at home. I think, as good as Franco Smith is, and I actually saw someone post a thing where they say that Glasgow Warriors is sort of a tier 1, very up there team. I think they're a bit overhyped. I think they were very lucky to win the URC last URC. I think that was the Bulls' game to lose. They should have won it. They were the favourites for that game, and I think they maybe just got a bit overhyped or underestimated their opponent, and pay the price for it.
Look, if they've got 0 injuries with that coach, with Franco, and they have no injuries, they're probably one of the top 3 to 4 most lethal teams in World Rugby at the moment at club level. But whether or now with all the players not there and on national duty, they're not looking that hot though.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the Sharks have lost the same amount of games as them, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, it comes down to opinion. I think they're just a bit overhyped. Not that they're a bad team. I just think that they're not not up there like everyone says they are. You know, they're definitely not a Toulouse or a Leinster. We were talking about scrum offs before. You know, this is a very good game for all three of the scrum offs that we're playing. You know, Jaden, who didn't look that hot last weekend, actually won the game for us. You know, he had that dirty little pass, which you all know he did on purpose. You know, rules are rules, and he won the game for us with that. Mornay van der Berg looked very good. He was actually man of the match. You know, and he had a beautiful break. I made a try assist, 93 carry meters. You know, like I said, he had a beautiful break in the 13th minute. He caught Monambi sleeping and he broke through the line. And then Monambi got his revenge later on and just for no reason just tackled him off the ball. Yeah, Mafura, I hope I'm saying that correctly, for the Lions looked very good. He scored a beautiful try, you know, 86 carry meters. I actually think he's filling some big shoes, you know. He's filling in for Quain, and I think he did very well. Obviously not on Quain level. Quain is just on another level, but you know he did very well.
Yeah, I
Kudos to
think,
the
I
line.
think I would have liked to have Quain there, you know, and I would have also liked to have Fussy there to see the battle of the fullbacks.
Oh,
You know, just
what
quickly
a game!
getting back to the battle of the nines you just mentioned now, and I'm going to be the one that says this. Out of the three scrum offs that we did see that is in contention for the green and gold, Jaden looked shit compared to the other two scrum offs that were there. I think he looks tired. He's slow. I mean, and his kick was so lucky. His kick was so lucky. No, so I can't even rate him. I can't even use good and Jaden in one sentence right now. I think he's overrated at the moment. I actually think that he's probably on the same level at the moment as somebody like Herschel Yankees or one of the Currie Cup scrum offs.
I don't mind Jaden. He's got a lot of bad games. He had a very bad game last weekend, but I think this weekend he wasn't as bad compared to Grant and Mornay. Definitely not on that level. I mean, Grant was just something else. He showed us why that the Springbok 9 shirt belongs to him, and Mornay showed us that he's not going to just sit down and he's actually going to try and take that away from him. So
I want to say this. You look at Grant Williams, you look at Morne van der Berg, you look at Ambrose Papier, and you look at who's the guy from Storms, Paul de Wet. Okay, where does Jaden fit in? He's not even at the moment in the top 4 scrum offs in South Africa. And then you're excluding guys like Corvus Reinach and Faf de Klerk and all those guys that's playing internationally out of that equation as well. And then probably it doesn't even reach the top 7.
Does that come down to Jaden being very bad or to us having a lot of good scrum offs?
No, I just think it comes down to Jaden doesn't have margin for error, and instead of improving himself, he's kind of playing with that mentality that he's a Springbok. You know, he's got a bit of that Irish mentality, I feel, at the moment. He thinks he's better than he actually is.
Well, we'll get to the Irish now. Nick Hatton looked good for me. He scored a beautiful try. I think Nick Hatton's going to leave the Sharks very soon. You know, I think he's obviously not getting that start. He's going to be like a James Venter. A James Venter is knocking on the door, but unfortunately with players like Siako Lisi and the Tsuka brothers, there's just no space for him, you know. And I think someone's going to eat Nick Hatton up, and he's just going to look very good. Yao Penke, he was shit. You know, he had 3 handing errors, 2 penalties. He even got a yellow card, a very silly yellow card. I know that there was talks of Edolf and the Maverick coming over to the Sharks. You know, please, you know, we need him. So I know we've got Mapimpi that is out. We've got Ethan Hooker, but he's actually a centre. But I like him on wing. But yeah, please. You know, you have to, you know, before we move on to the next game, you have to take your hat off to the Lions, though. You know, after halftime, when Sharks scored a try, I think they were up with like 10 or 17, between 10 and 17 points, I can't remember. And I thought, hey, the Sharks are going to open this game up. And the Lions just never took a back foot step, you know. So well done to them. You know, they always do that. They always do that.
Yeah, at least I can say they went down kicking. They didn't.
100%.
Not a second went by where they didn't try to win a little bit of little field, or you know, with a little bit of a sneaky kicky here and there, moving the ball when trying to kick and stuff like that. They really tried. They really tried. There was a point where I
thought they were gonna win. Yeah, I also thought.
Yeah, I was nipping at the fact. I was on the edge of just getting a aneurysm and giving up on the match. But luckily, I kept watching, and it was a very fulfilling game for me.
I think the big thing for me that stood out is that it's clear that the Lions don't have a general at fly off. And I mean, you've got Jordan, who's probably, I rate him as our best.
But they never used him when they had him.
Yeah. Their best option at 10 for the box and stuff. And I think probably he outplays all the other 10s, well, except for Polly. But you look at the Lions, they don't have. I mean, half the time you can't even remember who plays 10 for the Lions. They need a commander, and that's something, back in the day before the baby powder stuff, Alton was a commander,
Yeah, we pulled the roids.
Yeah, he stood out, he commanded that team, he led that backline, and if you go look at his success rate, that Alton had, they had a goal kicker that basically never missed, they had a guy that got that backline away, and in my opinion, the backline that the Lions have now, if they had somebody like Alton Yankees at 10, they would be mentally lethal.
Gianni Lombard had a few good games. This wasn't one of them. But I think last weekend, he was on fire. But this weekend, I also didn't think he was too hot. He's up and down, I also don't think he's their guy. I think, what is the small guy's name? He left for Japan now, man. He's actually a 9. Not Soyamba. Nohamba. Sanele Nohamba. He was playing 10 and 9 for them. 10 and 9. He was a better 9 than a 10. But he's one of the players that the Lions are going to be very, very sad that they lost, because he could rotate between those two positions. But yeah, anyways. The next game, the game that all of us are probably dying to talk about.
I think let's leave that game for last. Let's look at the other two games that happened, and then because I feel that France Island game is gonna have there's gonna be a lot of opinions, and it's gonna be a lot of controversy in that. So I'll quickly run us because that game just finished now.
All right.
But England basically massacred Italy. Sorry, it was what we expected, 47-24. England winning by 23 points. We expected that. So nothing there. And then, Scotland, Wales 35-29. Wales did put up a fight there in general. But it's getting closer for Wales, and I think they're just getting back into that rebuilding phase of getting back into the top 10 in World Rugby now, going through the motions, waiting to see what happens with their future with regards to coaching and stuff like that. And just while we're over on that game, so, Rugby 365, Scotland coach labels France as the toughest fixture in the world. Okay, so Scotland's coach, Gregor Townsend, I think has found the same stuff to smoke or sniff that Justin Marshall had last week. He's had 82 appearances for Scotland when he was playing with 164 points. He scored 2 points a match as a fly-off. His record isn't really that fantastic. So when you are in a position to make comments like that, make sure you've got some stats behind you, and was seen at some point as one of the top 5 players in your position or whatever, and you never were. So kind of just shut the fuck up about who's the toughest fixture to play, and let the real people that know rugby talk about that.
I won't be as harsh as you are, but Gregerstown, he also complained about the 6-2 and the 7-1 and what. The problem with Gregerstown is he's got a world-class team that is not accomplishing anything.
Because they've got a very average coach that was a very average player on his day.
They've got a Duan van der Merwe. Tom Jordan looks very good today. He scored 2 tries. They've got a Hugh Jones who loves to score tries. A Darcy Graham, a Blair Kinghorn, a Finn Russell. They've got a Rory Dodge. James Ritchie. What they've got, they should be doing a lot better with. And every time when you have a team that on paper that looks better than the next team and doesn't beat the next team by the margin that you think they should, that's obviously a coaching problem. That's all it can be. So, yeah.
Well, we discussed this, Scotland having one of the most dangerous backlines in World Rugby. I feel they do. And they're underutilized because they've got a fly-off that's coaching the same mentality that he used to play, which is apparently scored 2 points a game.
Yeah. But I think next weekend when we have the last episode or the last round of Six Nations, we should do our British and Irish Lion team. The reason I'm on that subject now is speaking about the Scotland Wales game. Jack Morgan. I think this guy, even in the form that Wales, have been, I feel like Jack Morgan is really making a statement, and I don't know how many Wales players will be included in that British and Irish, obviously with the form that Ireland were in this weekend, maybe a lot more spots will open for them, for some of the Wales or other players, but Jack Morgan looked so good. He always does. He always does. He always gives his 100%, even when his team is basically a sinking ship, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
I've a question for you too, if I can ask.
Give it.
I'd like to hear your opinion. Do you think it's a coaching area, or do you think it's a motivational? Like, do you think it's a physical placement of the players in the teams where the
Wales.
problem is? Yeah, where the problem
Well,
is.
it
Or do you
was.
think it's a actual gameplay where he doesn't utilize what he has?
It was a coaching error. You see, the thing, Wales are doing a lot better than they should be doing, if you think about it. Like I said last episode, their coach fucked off halfway through the Six Nations. You know, the new coach was coaching a URC team, Cardiff, not too long ago. A few weeks ago, actually. He brought up a whole bunch of players that weren't initially called up. If you look at Warren Gatlin, he was playing like 2 or 3 12s in the starting 15, out of position. Then you look at someone like Gareth Anscombe, who wasn't even initially called up. He's a bit older. I don't know all these, but he wasn't initially called up, and the new coach called him up, and I think he's actually been looking very good since he came up. So yeah, they shouldn't be doing as not that they haven't won a game yet, but they should be doing a lot worse than they are doing at the moment.
I mean, a few games ago they were getting smashed by Italy,
Yeah.
and now losing to Scotland with 6 points. You can see that little bit of hope and that little bit of consistency and action as coaching comes back. Coaching is a big thing, because I mean we can go back then to the Springboks of early 2000s, where Rudolf Strele was watching them swim naked in the dam, and then
there's a documentary coming out of that.
And then you look at Jake White, who took the majority of that team in 2004 and went on to win the 2007 World Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, so obviously, clearly, that just shows the effect that a coach can have on a team. And I mean, it's the same thing with the Stormers. The Stormers have had a couple of years now where they've had excessively bad coaches. I mean, John Dobson is probably reaching up there as a prime candidate, and that's considering we had Alistair Coetzee as well. Coaching plays a big part in a team's mentality, especially if you've got a idiotic losing mentality. You're going to play like a bunch of losing idiots.
Yeah, 100%.
And Wales have gotten over that now, so they're moving forward. But let's move on, because I feel that we need to get to that juicy Franz Island epidemic that happened there.
Okay, well, we are moving on to that one now.
I think so.
Okay.
Well, we didn't watch the game. The England versus Italy match just ended.
I started watching it. Yeah, I started watching it, but
but nothing happened there that we didn't expect. It was England thrashed Italy.
Italy were putting up a fight in the beginning. When I was watching, was it? I think Breaks. It was Breaks. I can't remember. Someone scored a beautiful try. Capuzzo made a run, and it was actually Capuzzo who scored a try. But yeah, and then after that, England just ran away with the game. Okay, so then the last game that we can speak about is Ireland versus France. So, yeah, it started off heavy for me. I thought Ireland they started off, very, very aggressive. They were, in the French 22, but France's defense was looking beautiful.
They just taken that like 2 held up tries, like in the first 20 minutes.
And then, halftime came, it was 6-8 to France. You would never have predicted it the way it turned out. And Dupont, we'll talk about that later. Dupont gets injured, it goes off. I still put on the WhatsApp group there, GG's, it's over for France now. Ireland win the Six Nations.
Yeah.
And Jason Statham comes on, and in fact, France looked better when he was there. He was so good.
I'm just so happy that happened, because I've been calling the overratedness of Antoine Dupont for years now. And then the commentators went on about that pass, that just before he went off. And Yuri Mattia from the Stormers did the same pass 2 weeks ago, so he's not that good.
Yeah, he made a few handling errors as well. But yes, I agree with you. I think it was good that France showed that they are a good team, even without the guy that who's basically the whole European nation wants to drink his bathwater. Even without that guy, they can still win, and they won convincingly.
Yeah.
I mean, the French were running right with this game. They Ireland looked lost. They didn't know how to respond. Okay, so would it have been a different game if James Lowe didn't get injured during the warm up? I still think France would have won. I think they really missed James Lowe because I forget his name. Nash looked very bad. Very, very bad. I think that's where what we speak about a lot is that Ireland are focusing on the now, and they're not building the depth that they're supposed to. And James Lowe getting injured before the game starts, getting replaced by Calvin Nash, who was not nearly the level that James Lowe is a perfect example of that. Ireland just don't have the depth, and it's their own fault. It's honestly their own fault.
Yeah, but it's not really a loss for World Rugby that Ireland's doing badly.
You know what? I think to me, if it's the first time Ireland were playing in the Six Nation. A quality opposition. I'm not saying that England are bad. England are up and down. They've had some good games. They've had some bad games. They were supposed to lose against Scotland last weekend, but this is the first time that France, that Ireland are playing a quality opposition, and I think that they've been exposed because of it. We've been speaking about Ireland that are on a downward spiral, and we've been getting a lot of hate because of it. A lot of people have been arguing with us because of it. But I mean, the proof is in the pudding. There you have it.
Definitely with this game.
Yeah, I think France went in with a 7-1 split, and they approached it, like a world class team. If you compare them to the other teams, like the Springboks, something happened. They had a center injured. They put on a loose forward that had to cover at center, and he did a fantastic job. Ireland went in with a 6-2 split. The replacements didn't do anything. In actual fact, I think we spoke about Jameson Gibson-Park. He looked average. He probably looked a bit more average than Dupont, because when Conor Murray came on, Ireland immediately looked more dangerous. We're looking at Prendergast. Prendergast looked like a high school fly-off that just figured out to tie shoelaces. I'll give him credit. He did try to defend as hard as he can, but you're not going to catch off the French backline, if you're that slow. I just think it was such a clinical performance by the French, and they showed the whole world how to beat Ireland, and I don't think Ireland is going to recover from that. I really don't think that.
I also don't think. And if you look at it, okay, the scoreboard is very flattering to Ireland, because I think France actually sort of put their foot off the gas, and in the 77th minute and the 80th minute, Ireland scored two quick tries. So in all honesty, they were getting smashed, by a lot more than what the scoreboard is reflecting, But anyways, that was what a game, And another thing the Irish really showed us is how dirty they are. O'Mahony is a very dirty player. There was two tackles there, with no arm tackles. the lock, I forget his name, Joe McCarthy. Joe McCarthy was, I mean, that's it. Who did he grab there at the back? He was running and he like just pulls him down. He did get the yellow carded for it. But yeah, Ireland, Burn. I actually want to hear about or hear your thoughts on this. Burn. Taking out Dupont, or falling, putting all his weight on Dupont's leg, resulting in a very serious injury.
Yeah, I think that's been the problem. Ireland has always been a dirty team, that's never been the question. In the European, in the Six Nations, I would say Ireland has probably always been the most dirty team. They've perfected the art of injuring players. They've perfected the art of bitching and moaning about everything. So they can do stuff and then fight it, and then when it happens to them, it's a whole big deal. It's such a shallow mentality that the Irish have. That injury on the pont was clearly deliberate. He went into the ruck. He rolled deliberately that direction. He injures the player. O'Mahony, I'm so glad he's retiring, because with that face, I'm surprised he even lived in his house as long as he did with his parents.
Yeah.
But he's a dirty player, and he's always been a dirty player. And James Lowe would have probably been one of the dirty players on the field as well. And it's just that Irish thing. It's always been the Irish thing, and you'll see with the British and Irish Lions tour, going to Australia, they're going to injure a lot of Australians. They are, because it's most of the team most of that team exists or is going to be made up of Irish players, and I think they're going to go to at least win the fight. And it's sad because Ireland have such potential if just actually focus on rugby. You see, they went into that match, and this is my opinion on this. They went into that match to get the pond out. And then they thought, if the pond's not there, they're just going to walk over it. And I'm so glad it backfired for them, because they're a thug team. They go out to injure, they go out to cause damage. They don't play any rugby that is attractive at all, and they need to win games by injuring quality opposition. And like you mentioned, they did that in the World Cup, and then they still couldn't get past the quarterfinals, It's just
maybe they thought this was a quarterfinals.
I don't know what Ireland think. I don't think there is a thought process in Ireland. Maybe they should just, for one day, stop drinking and maybe just focus on what's going on in the world, and World Rugby would be a better place.
Fuck it. Okay, we don't feel the same way. Just for
I'm sad though, Bandiaki's injury, and Bandiaki, for me, I feel that he's one of the more decent players in Ireland. He had a very quiet game, and he really looked out of it after that knock early on.
Yeah, he was really outshined by the French 12 actually. But yeah, I agree with you. He's a brilliant player. I think a lot of ex All Blacks or not or All Black washouts are going to be sending their CVs through Ireland now that Bandiaki and James Lowe and Jamison Gibson Park are aging, and we know that how much the Irish love the All Black washouts.
Yes, make up. If you want to be good at rugby and not pass a quarterfinal, what you do is you get all the players that other major countries don't want to put in their teams because they're not good enough, and then you can reach a quarterfinal of the World Cup, and that's pretty much it.
In all honesty, though, those three so-called All Black washouts, and we can argue about this. I think maybe not all three of them, but at least two of the three make the New Zealand starting 15 in the form they are now.
Look, we can debate that, because I feel when it comes to wing, as good as James Lowe is, the World Cup showed us that he doesn't even outperform any of the current All Black wings. Bandiaki, I would probably give a go, and
over Geordie.
I would play Geordie if I didn't have a kicker in the team. But if I had a fly off like a Richie Mo'unga, Aki would probably be, Bundy would probably be my main number 12. But then at the time when they were in the New Zealand, in contention for the New Zealand thing, they just weren't on that level, and the players that the All Blacks would need at that particular time. And we had this discussion. You can go back and look, especially at the games that James Lowe played against South African club sides. You know,
Yeah.
he was way below average, and I
Yeah.
still think he's very cocky. You know, but it does add to his game and stuff. Look, I don't hate the Irish; just dislike them immensely. But they are, you know, um,
Arrogant.
I was very satisfied this weekend. You know, a lot could have happened this weekend that would have satisfied me, but that was like probably, you know, 10 out of 10 for France pitching up for that game, and
Yeah.
after losing the
Yeah.
star number
Oh, yeah.
9 that can
Yeah.
that no other number 9 can compare to.
Yeah, the
And
one that
then-
walks in air, yeah. In the
Yes,
air.
and then bringing on your second tier number 9, and he I'm
actually looked
sorry,
good.
he actually just looked.
He was
looked
my
so
man of
good.
the match. I know LBB got man of the match. I'm not even trying to say the name.
Oh,
and
but
he
that
looked
guy,
very good.
Red Riding Hood just
Yes.
showed the big bad wolf of Ireland, you know.
And
what
he's
happened.
such a small guy, you know, and you would think that a guy, and yeah, you know,
But it
well done.
always looks like he's having fun, though. It doesn't matter what it always looks like the guy's
Yeah.
smiling. It just looks like
I would like to
he's
see.
having
I
a
would like to.
blast.
I would like to see how he compares to the fastest in world rugby, because he's got wheels on him. He's very, very fast. You know. Yeah, I'd like to see how he compares. We are playing both of these teams away this year, you know, Ireland and France. And after this performance, I'm a bit more worried about France and Ireland, to be honest with you.
I've always been more worried about France than Ireland. I feel Ireland is, you know, they're a potato team, man. They're a potato team.
Yeah, the French forwards look good, you know, and they go with 7-1, we go 7-1. It's going to be really a clash of the Titans, you know. The thing is, it's so difficult to predict what our team would look like by that time, you know, with all the players that are coming through now. I can't even tell you who our starting number 8 will be against Gregory Aldred. Whether it's Jasper Visser, Kevin Anukom, like we've spoken, or Evan Ruiz, you know. Who's going to be our 9? Grant Williams, or is Krappi's going to take that shit from him? You know, who's going to be our 10? Is it going to be Sasha, Jordan, or is it going to be Andre, or even Mani is in contention? So it's so difficult to predict how this game is going to look. But yeah, either or, I think it's going to be a massive, massive game. Yeah, I think let's end it on that.
Yeah, I think that's everything. Unless you guys want to talk about something else again. Like we did last episode, no juicy news that you want me to comment on or whatever.
No, we've learned. We've learned. And we once more apologize to Rachel Khaleesi for...
yeah, with that. Guys, again, thanks for all the views and the support and the comments and everything, and all the messages of hate we get. We do appreciate that. And then, yes, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. If you do, like and subscribe, send it around, get some more people to like and subscribe, and then we'll probably see you guys again on Friday for the previews of the upcoming matches. Right now we're happy. We're celebrating a French victory for the first time in South Africa.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's it from us. I'll see you guys then for our recording on Thursday.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Have a lovely night.
Bye.
Bye.